if we apply that same logic to the areas inside the shadow, we can then begin to ask, well, which of these planes are going to be more directly bouncing off the light? All right, let's talk about color and light and how they work together. Payton, this is a really strong portrait. This is so structured. You came to me with needing help with colors, that the portrait feels a little too saturated. Let's start there. Because blue and orange are complements of each other on the color wheel, they amplify the feeling of each other's color. So blue looks more blue because of the presence of the orange in the flesh tones, and then the orange makes the blue feel more blue. Does that mean that we actually need to take out color? I'm not so sure. But my first thought was, well, if we do take out some of the blue in the background, add a little bit more gray, we're going to bring the lights closer to the environment, and that's going to connect her more to the space. So let's see how that looks. You can see a subtle change in here. The colors in her skin are beginning to feel a little bit more natural. Now, a process like this is a bit limiting, because if you're just trying to make, gray backgrounds, well, great. But if you want to have colorful backgrounds and all kinds of things in the background, how do you manipulate the actual subject to blend in with the environment that you've chosen? What if we made it so the background stayed the same and the shadows married the subject to the environment? Now I see that you've already been playing with blue, which is wonderful. I'm just bringing it in a little bit more. The lights are now standing out rather than fading in. And this is part of the nature of how light works. The light tends to draw out colors. Light is visual information. Everything that we see is light entering our eyes. So it stands to reason that when the light is shining on something, it's going to have more color, more details. The light is picking up more color in the areas it's touching, right? And then where there's an absence of color, we still have light. So I talk about light and shadow, but shadow's not necessarily black. It's just the absence of that primary light source. Her shadows are darker than the lights, but they are still relatively bright and they have color. Where's that color coming from? Well, it's coming from the environment, ambient light bouncing off of particles of dust in the air and the sky, and then coming back in and shining on her face. So once you separate light from shadow, you could begin to look at areas inside the shadow and begin to ask yourself, where is this ambient light source? Where is this reflected light from the sky? How is that interacting with her face? What planes is it touching the most? So again, let's come back to the light, because the light's a little bit easier to see and understand. We can see that planes that are facing the front, just like on my head, these are all being touched by the light, because there's a light source that's coming pretty similar to my lighting setup here. It's coming just a little bit from the front and from the side. But then on the side of her face, that's a plane that's facing this way and the light cannot touch it. Well, if we apply that same logic to the areas inside the shadow, we can then begin to ask, well, which of these planes are going to be more directly bouncing off the light? We look at this area right in here, and we can kind of see it in the portrait here. This seems to be coming from underneath her cheekbones, which would mean that that's a plane that's facing downwards. Maybe the ground is illuminated and it's bouncing light back up into her face. Over here, this would be a plane that's glancing off from the sides. So planes that are going back into space, so receding planes and planes facing down low, are getting this kind of pale white environment color. This color is very similar to the color of the environment. So it's kind of like 1, 2, 3, even a little bit in here, maybe in here, some areas in here. All of those receding planes that are also facing down, that's where we can put blue. Now we have some pinks in here. We've got some kind of pinks in here. So maybe where the environment can't touch, we get a little bit more warmth and a little bit more of this like glow from her skin. So I'm sorry if I'm changing up your style a little bit, if we want to push this to be a little bit more realistic. If you want good saturation that actually connects and feels like it's part of the environment, then use the shadows as your friend to create the connections that you need so that the contrast actually works beautifully in your favor. So I'm going to just force myself to stop here. For you, Payton, I saw that you were interested in coaching. What I've experienced is that a lot of artists who are kind of at your level, they might be really intuitively able to get really beautiful results like this, but they might not necessarily know why. And sometimes it's like a hit or miss. You don't know if it's going to come out well, or you're just struggling and struggling and struggling, and then you're not even sure if it's very good because you're just second guessing yourself the whole way. And they just need a language and a way to understand what it is that they're doing and why it even works, so that they can continue to get consistent results. What I'm kind of introducing is just, hey, here's a language, here's a process, here's a way to make sense of what you're doing. And I've been doing that for a lot of artists. And I haven't been doing a whole lot of critiques because I've been getting more students and I've been really focusing on them. If you're interested in that, let's follow up about that. But again, if you have any questions about the critique, about the painting, feel free to just follow up and we'll get into it.